Today we're covering the process, our new process for onboarding new hires. Let's get right to it. This is our next iteration of our onboarding doc, and how we onboard. We look at onboarding as a 90-day process. It's not like first day, first week, boom, you go through onboarding. Good luck, have a nice life. It takes time, and we try our best to be very careful on the order of basically what they should be learning. And because the order is super important, because you don't want someone learning this really complicated advanced stuff when they don't have the basics down. And and what we do in our onboarding is the durations, the time itself. It's more of a minimum requirement. And certain individuals, they'll go and complete the onboarding much faster than others. Or if they're a little slow, they're falling behind, we would ask them to put in a little more extra effort to catch up. Okay. But really, all of our onboarding is really realistic. It's not like some insane training or time requirement that they're pushing like more than 8 hours a day. So without further ado, let me share my screen and go right into it. So I guess let me show you
Interesting.
what our original document looked like. Okay, it looked like this. Originally, it was just this giant Google Doc. That was our iteration one, and it's broken up to 30, 60, 90 days. And the first 30 days is about learning. The next 30 days is about implementing. And then finally, the last like 60 to 90 days is about optimizing what they've been learning and implementing. Okay, everyone following me so far? So the structure is the same. The difference is we've taken all of this and split it into and put it into a Google sheet, but also or spreadsheet and split it into two different documents. One is our general onboarding, and then the other one is role specific. So in this case, the role specific one is for an executive assistant or for an EA. And how these two document works is that day one, they get a copy of both documents. Okay. And then as they go through, the general is the main one. So they go through the general one, and within general on each of the tabs is separated by the first 10 days and then broken out into weeks. Okay. And as they go through certain days, like for example, I believe it starts at day 3, there will be a row here, a record that says role specific. That's when they go into the role specific. Because because there's just so many roles, right? There's like video editors, web, designers, developers, um, CSMs, like all these different roles. So we want to make it custom tailored for each role for the role specific knowledge that they need to learn. But then there's general that every single person in the organization should know. Okay, so I'll go a little deeper into this. So day one, pretty simple. Okay, actually, you know what? Let me start with the columns. Um, Time it takes for each of the of the tasks and the basically the agenda and the description. And then this right here, we want to make it interactive. We don't want to like, oh yeah, I did it, right? And that is the status, but we want the individual to talk about it. Certain things may not have much information, but to really share their thoughts. And it's broken out into okay, provide 1 to 2 sentences summary about what you've just learned or what you've just worked on. What is your opinion on this? And then what are some of the new things that you've learned? Because we're bringing talent from all over, right? And some have experience, some do not. So it's important that we get a good idea of their training experience is like. So that way we can, as coaches, as mentors. So you want to think of yourself as a mentor, as a coach. So helping this individual understanding what they're struggling with, and so that way you can tweak it and provide different bits of information on that same topic in a way that's easily digestible for that individual. Okay. So for example, I might use different analogies. Like if their background is, oh yeah, I love cooking. Well, I might start using food and cooking analogies based on the agenda or the item that they're learning. Okay. Uh, So, the first 60 minutes, from the first of the day, they're going over, the contract, the paperwork, the NDA, background check agreement, employee forms, the basic HR stuff. The next thing is we assign a buddy for the individual. So that way, if they have any questions, they might, they might be too shy or afraid of asking their manager. They have a buddy, basically their colleague, their peer that they can ask questions to. Um, and then really setting expectations for the overall onboarding. So a little welcome. I'm working on the welcome email, welcome video, but this is just an example of the video. We go over our mission, vision, and core values, our company policies, and some of the success stories, just to share like some of the wins that we have by helping our clients, which are agencies and small to medium sized businesses. So that way, everyone it's the same thing. It's similar to like a sales pitch, right? Or or a sales call. It's to help the new hire quickly understand what this organization is all about, why we exist, and some of the success that we've provided for our clients. So a little bit more about the company, and in particular, for us, we have basically two divisions. One is the DSM Talent, which is our staffing side, and then the other is our design development side, so DSM Web. And now after that is all the technical setup. So they go right into Slack, Zoom, email, getting access to Smart Suite, which is our project management tool, in Google Drive, and then setting up in their browser, their Launchpad. And then this more of an exercise, like what should I know about you? And why did you take on this job? Short and long-term personal goals, short and long-term professional goals, and long-term, income goals. These are things that are important that their manager, their leader should absolutely know because our goal here is to create a win-win, a really good alignment. Because in the future, I've had new hires that have said to me, "Hey, someday I want to start a new business." I get excited when I hear that. It's like, okay, that's awesome. As a future entrepreneur. So what do you think it takes to be that? Right? And so all the all the education, all the training that I'm providing the individual, I tie it back to, okay, this is related. This is a piece that if you want to start a business someday, this is a crucial skill set that you should learn. And this is so it also not only makes it really relatable, but it really motivates, right, the individual. Like, yeah, I'm helping the individual um, to achieve their dream someday. Um, and the thing I ask is that, I don't expect every single person to work here. I hope to work here until they retire, right? Like 40, 50, 60 years. Okay. Um, so, my ask and what I say to all of our new hires is that, hey, leave, um, the environment, the place better than you got here. So help us with the transition. So if you're ready to move on to another opportunity elsewhere, please help us train that next individual, right? Help us train your protege. The same thing I'm doing for you today, right? I'm helping you with the training. My ask is for you to help the future, EA or future video editor, because you're moving on to a new role. It doesn't even have to be outside the company. It could be within the company, right? You're getting promoted. So in order to get promoted, you need to have your protege, right? You need to have someone to fill in your current role. So that's kind of my mindset and kind of the mindset I set and the expectations I set. Okay. And I guess my question for everyone else, so far, is your onboarding similar or different?
I'm just starting out hiring. I think I had my first interview the other day, so I would say I don't have a process. So I'm learning how to do this right now on this call.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. What role are you hiring for?
Video editor.
Video editor. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. Um, and then Haley, yeah, thank you. Similar vision and incomplete. Okay. What parts are incomplete for you?
So there's a document that I had put in Excel, kind of like this,
Yeah.
not really knowing what to do, but I'm excited because I'm like, this is what I've been looking for. Incomplete in the way that it's not, it's not in use. It doesn't have everything, the detail that it's here. It's not laid out strategically in this way. It doesn't have multiple days. So incomplete and not automated at all.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad this so far has been helpful. And also I'll give you and everyone here a copy of this once we're done. And this is literally like fresh, like right out of the oven. We are just modifying this morning too, and we're this is just version 1.0 of this spreadsheet. So we'll as we make iterations and new versions of this, we'll also provide that, and I'll let the AU team know to update it in the Notion training area. So you'll have the newest versions. But after this call, I'll share it to everyone here. So then after that, we asked our new hires to take the love language assessment. Okay, so we want to know about their love language. What really, what do they care about, right? And and then talking about their love language, and then having them watch this short video on a 90-day plan from a Harvard professor. So what should they expect, and how how can they be the most successful in their first 90 days working at a new organization? Okay. Because everyone has different expectations, right? And some people are like, oh yeah, I want to impress. Most individuals are like, I want to impress my new employer, right? I want to impress my new boss. So, but the problem with that is that sometimes um, their attempt of trying to impress their manager, their new boss, ends up creating more problems and headaches and issues, right? So that's why having this video in the very beginning, highly recommend everyone watching this to kind of set the expectations. Here's another video on like what does it feel like to start a new job and how to succeed, right? It's just like pacing, right? It's this video is more for individuals that are just too, it's really gung ho about just getting right into the weeds, but at the same time, like, hey, you want to slow yourself down too and pace yourself so you don't burn out or you don't make mistakes, right? And what ends up making you look bad too. Um, so focus, the explaining, communication is important, and explaining the internet to grandma, like communication training, and learning about hotkeys. For us, we we focus on partially speed, and knowing like the shortcut keys and hotkeys is really important, especially if let's say you're a video editor, but even for a VA or an EA is really important. So that's why we have this little fun little game, and how to respond to emails, urgent emails, client emails efficiently. And then at the end of every day, we have these questions, right? How did your day go? Was it what you expected? What did you like? What do you think we could improve on? And how can we help you do your best work? So understand that the first day, I mean the first 5 days, it's going to be most likely very generic. Like, how did they? Oh, it went well, right? I like it. But after like 5 days, like the sixth day and the 10th day, you hopefully have built up a rapport and trust with this individual, and they get the rhythm. And so now they're sharing more, right? They're sharing like, hey, I think we could, this is not really what I expected. I was expecting this, and okay, cool. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that. I'll update the onboarding form. I'll update our onboarding document so to help others in the future. And so we're in constant iteration and constant improvement of our processes, not just onboarding, but for all processes in our organization. But this is our way of giving us an opportunity to update our onboarding docs. Any questions for the first day? Good. Okay. Uh, so on to day two. Every for the next pretty much 12 weeks, there's always a morning meeting with their leader, basically a mentor. And the 30-minute meeting would go over the day today, how was your day yesterday? And do you have any questions from yesterday's session? Sometimes we cover it at the end of day one. So we can skip that. So in day two, we basically discuss what they'll be learning, what they'll be working on or training. There might be some additional assignments or small tasks in the mornings that I might assign to the individual that's really relatable to what they're learning, or it's something really simple to kind of get their feet wet. Okay. Um, in the morning, and then learn about emails. We have a set email signature set up for all of our individuals, and then also we follow Inbox Zero. Who here uses Inbox Zero? Let me show you live, real quick, what Inbox Zero looks like. All right. So before Inbox Zero, who here has more than 1,000 unread emails in their inbox right now? Right. So I think my record was like 40,000 unread emails. Okay, that was my record. I know, it's like what the heck, right? Because like every single day I get spammed with emails. So let me show you what my inbox looks like right now, okay? My inbox, so this is what my inbox looks like. And I'm gonna apply Inbox Zero for you right now. And this is what my EA does for me. Okay. I mean, you can see my email is from like just this morning. So from 9:14 a.m., I already gotten 43 emails. Okay, so throughout the day, I get hundreds of emails, and most of it is junk. All right. So what happens is all of this email, this is my primary inbox. I have my action items, awaiting reply, and read through. So what happens is, okay, I look through all this, and I read away. I know all this is junk. So I basically say, all right, I select all this and I hit E on my keyboard, and boom, it just archives. Oh, so my assistant's already cleaning this up, so that's why all these emails are just being disappeared. So or disappearing. So for example, this email is important. Looks like it's from a client. All I have to do is hit L and F, follow up, and then I hit U to go back up there, or actually I go back in here and hit E to archive. So as you can see, I'm archiving all of this. So now we're back to inbox zero. My inbox is zero now, right? Cleared. Now, the things that I need to take care of, my action items are all categorized and tagged as follow-up. Things that I'm waiting for replies, waiting reply and waiting. Things that I just need to read through or references, it's tagged as read through. That's what I used to do, but now my EA does this for me, so I don't have to do this anymore. Okay. And to take it a step further, my EA would sometimes auto reply or automatically respond or put up drafts for me to review and take care of that. So that's taking it to the next level. So if you don't know Inbox Zero right now, I would learn Inbox Zero now. And then that way in the future, you can have your EA do Inbox Zero for you. So now you know Inbox Zero. So there's a video here on how Inbox Zero works. So when you get access to this, you can just watch the Inbox Zero tutorial here. And calendars. Who follows time blocking? The time blocking method. Nice. So Haley does. Anyone else? Who
Is that
uses a
like
calendar?
Pomodoro?
Yeah, similar. So Pomodoro is like more of a like a set time for everything, and there's set breaks and stuff like that. For I don't go that deep into Pomodoro. I mean, the funny thing is I even have the device here, the Pomodoro for the device, like every 30, 15 minutes. I got it. I know it. So, but I don't follow it all the time. What I do is I color code to kind of show you this is this is what my calendar looks like. So I color code everything. So yellow means family, purple means ex internal meetings, orange is external meetings, blue is like things that I'm working on. And when you do it in your calendar, you have this insights, the data, and I can see like, oh, this week I spent 5 hours in internal meetings, 2.5 hours in external meetings, 28 hours for family. So you now have metrics. You have data on how your week is, how your day is, and how your month is. So this is part of the training for like a calendar of setting up and there's some exercises here too. Setting up your Google Calendar, coming up with list of items that should be reoccurring. Discuss with your leader on some unique use cases based on your role. So maybe if you're a video editor, there may be like let's say weekly marketing meetings that the editor may be part of to talk about clients or talking about internal videos with your rest of your marketing team. So that's a weekly call that they should be involved in. And then at this point, they're scheduling one-on-ones with their manager or their leader. And then and then maybe scheduling a meeting with the president. Okay. Uh, because you're smaller right now, it may be a little bit redundant. So you don't need like a meeting with the president, meeting with your leader because you're one and the same right now. But in the future, as you grow, that's why we have it broken up. And then here's a short video on like how to have productive one-on-one meetings, virtual etiquettes, the do's and don'ts, taking meeting notes and requesting time off, and then role specific tasks, and then back to the end of the day meeting. For this piece right here, role specific tasks. So I'll give you an example of the EA. So they go into here, when they arrive here, they go into the other document. So now for the other document for day two for the EA, these are the details that they're learning specifically for the EA. So the EA is learning how to apply inbox zero method for the executive, delegate emails requiring team action as needed, responding to urgent emails for the executive, preparing executive meeting notes, confirming attendance calls, starting to use Smart Suite for the reviewing the CRM inside the Smart Suite, ensuring all meeting documents are up to date, and then before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. So these are all SOPs, okay, that we have. So you can see now on starting day two, the individual is using both the onboarding docs now. One is general, one is role specific. So if I combined everything into one document, the problem with that is that every time we hire a different role, we have to, adjust that one document and go through everything. And then also every time we want to, let's say we have 5 different documents, right, for 5 different roles. Now, every time we wanted to add something that applies to every single person in the company, we have to update 5 documents, right? So if there's something that applies for everyone in the organization that's important for onboarding, we go right into the general and we apply it and we look at like, okay, where's the best fit day one or all the way out to, week 12. So that's why we have it separated like this. Um, moving on, day three, same thing, meeting with your leader. Now we go into, like a fun little personality test. If you haven't taken this, I highly recommend it. Take this and have your significant other take it too. And there's a little tool to compare and areas of contention, areas like maybe you guys argue or disagree on, is usually areas where the personalities are really different. Okay, it's super fun, fun little exercise to do. Highly recommend it. It doesn't cost you any money. It's a, it's just a fun little personality test. Google Maps, just a video on how to use Google Maps. You would think, like I thought, like, oh yeah, I know how to use Google Maps, but this video provides a little more insight, little tips and tricks on how to use Google Maps a little bit better. And then there's this video that actually Austin shared before. It's leadership on a submarine. Um, Really good leadership video. We're in our organization, we're really big on building strong leaders. We don't want followers, like just people following orders. We want everyone to be able to think for themselves and help others and think about the situation and really lead and take charge. Because if everyone's a follower, guess what? Me as a business owner, everyone will constantly be asking me like, "Hey Dave, what should I do next? What should I do next?" And next thing you know, I'm not doing anything other than just responding to people, right? And giving people answers. I don't want that. I can't grow a business like that, right? You can't scale an organization like that. Um, so the other leadership book is 21 Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. It's a long audiobook. It's like, yeah, it's 9.5 hours long. So what we've done is we've taken it and broken it out, the 21 laws out to 21 days. And we discuss each of the laws as we go through each of the days. So it's very easily digestible. It's about 15 minutes they're watching, 15 to 30 minutes they're watching, and they're talking about it and how that applies to their, to their onboarding. ChatGPT, I mean, it's AI. It's something that we can't get away with, right? Get away from, and it's like the internet now. It's like if you don't know AI, it's like or refuse to learn AI. It's like saying you refuse to learn how to use the internet when the internet first came out. So that's like how extreme, and that's how we think about it. So we immediately, day three, if you don't know anything about ChatGPT, you don't know anything about AI, we want you to start using it, start using the prompts, start applying it to your role. Okay. Uh, Smart Suite, our project management tool. There's a certification in there. There's 3 levels of certification. So every day for the next 3 days, they're getting certified at each of the levels. It's not difficult, and it's at least it's something that it's a baseline. Everyone knows how to use the tool. Day 4, learning about so starting with the meeting again, brain type, we start going over go high level and going over how we structure our SOPs and role specific tasks. And then in our organization, they learn about a budget request form. So for us, whenever someone needs equipment or they want to um, sign up for like a workshop or we want to go to a work conference, they would then fill out this budget request form. And in this budget request form, it's really simple. It's like budget request, how much does it cost, budget date, and how is it beneficial? So once they fill this out, then we look at it and say, all right, do we approve or deny? It might be, I need a new laptop because we're editing 4K video now, and my laptop is like a toaster and it's taking me 3 hours to process. I would like to reduce that down to like 30 minutes. So then for me as as the owner, I'm like, okay, cost analysis. Does it make sense to invest a new laptop for this individual at this time? So it might be mics or larger monitors or new monitors, other things. But everything goes through the budget request form. We never ever want anyone to feel like, oh man, I need this tool, but I can't work well, and I'm always like not performing my best. So we don't want that. Anything that they need, there's a budget request form for. It doesn't mean necessarily they'll get approved for it, but at least we know that it's something that is needed or, to address their bottleneck. Uh, And billable tasks. This is for mostly individuals that are on the technical side. So for clients that are doing billable hourly work for clients, this is how to track the billable work. And another, day 2 of the certification. And then we talk about the second law and then the end of the day. Day 5, it's same thing in the morning with your leader. You're going through training on US client because most of our clients are in the US. We have a few that are outside, but majority are in the US. And it's understanding, the culture, the geography, the demographics, what's going on, the news, right? Like clients talk about like the recent, crazy events that's happening, like the explosion, at the Trump Towers and stuff like that. Our team should be somewhat relevant and somewhat has a rough idea of like what the heck's happening. Because that's where our market's at, right? That's where our clients are at. And then the Smart Suite certifications, and then the law, and then some role specific tasks. So you can see here for role specific, day 3, internal tasks, client follow-ups, day 4 now, creating SOPs related to this role, and then a weekly sweep of SOPs to find the ones that need updating. So that's EA specific. Uh, so that's day 5. Day 6, again, more leadership stuff. Now we're doing less and less of like the YouTube training or video training and book training. We're now shadowing more now, moving forward in their role. Day 7, we threw in Canva. Everyone in the organization should know how to use Canva. Just from a design standpoint or something. Sometimes you just need something quick. So that's training for Canva and some role specific pieces. Same thing here. Day 8. More on the leadership training and then shadowing your leader. Day 9 and day 10 is like that. But then day 10 we threw in make.com. We may be changing that. Make.com, for those that don't know, is like if you use Zapier, it's automation. It's an automation tool. It's like a low code to no code tool for automations. So we want everyone to learn that, so they know at the very basics that this tool exists and what the possibilities are. Because the reason for this is the idea is I want everyone to work smart, not hard. So it doesn't matter what role you're in. It might be an EA, it might be a video editor. If there are things that are repetitive that you do constantly, chances are you can automate it. And so hence why incorporating this training is important. So then week 3, so now we've broken it down to weeks now. We still do the morning calls. Sometimes we now at this point we only do either a morning call or the end of the day call. We don't need 2 calls a day. And then eventually we might only do 1 call a week. Okay. And keep in mind, there's always Slack. There's always ad hoc or impromptu like meeting anytime. But from a consistency standpoint, we have a meeting at this point once a day, and then later on it's once a week. So just meeting feedback, week 5 and 6. At this point, they're managing tasks independently. They're starting to suggest new ways of doing things, and they're taking a lead on organizing small projects or meetings now. So now we're like week 5 and week 6. So just they're like month and a half in now. Okay. And then week 7 and 8, continue building relationships, really getting a deeper understanding of all of the stakeholders, the team members, the clients, the different departments. Week 9 and 10, they're starting to identify inefficiencies in the process. I do not expect to ask, and it's unrealistic, right? It's like, hey, week 1, what are some of the things that we can improve on? Well, they don't even know your company. They don't even know your clients. How can they even provide you any recommendations? It's too early to tell. And then organization, and then implement new system or tools to improve workflow. And then finally, 11, 12, anticipate, well, this we need to update, but this is not executive, but contributing ideas and seeking feedback for performance and continuing growth. So that's the first like 12 weeks. And that's our onboarding process thus far. So I guess my question for everyone else is for especially for those that are hiring and are have already hired and getting ready to train, I guess what do you plan on doing?
Yeah, definitely like this one. So this role's for an executive assistant, you said? An EA?
Well, this one's for everyone, right? The what I just went over is for everyone in the company, and then we
Okay.
have this document for the EA in particular.
Okay, so that's nice.
My other question is everyone's experiences with onboarding, like either A, your personal experience from working at a previous job of getting onboarded, or you onboarding someone. What were some of the challenges?
I'd say just, having documentation up to date, and onboarding documents up to date. Things are changing constantly.
Well, I guess I would say back to your first question and then the second question, my answer is a little mixed, but the first thing I wanted to say is this reminds me of a really good onboarding system when I used to be an executive assistant at Madison Square Garden in New York. And it felt like a proper company where there's 90 days of training and onboarding and systems in place. So this is very exciting. And for me, the challenges were always not having something proper in place that I felt like I could kind of like a system, but I was there every day trying to train, and then I would train wrong, or I didn't really know what I was doing. And I guess my question or challenge would be like, when is this appropriate to implement? Right? Like I can see like because I'm starting this media company brand new in the new space that I'm in. And so I'm just kind of like, well, I guess when I get X amount of clients, I'll be able to onboard. This looks like it's for a full-time consultant or a
Yeah,
position. So I
it's for
guess
full time.
where is that meet in the middle, like that sweet spot? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so as soon as you hire anyone full time, I would implement this immediately. Okay. For your for your contractors, you would need to create a very slimmed down, modified version. Because for contractors, you're not focused on building up their career, building up their leadership, right? It's pretty much like project-based, task-based. This is how, we use our project, our Notion, set this up, set the status when you're done with this edit, right? If they're a contractor, then you would need to modify this heavily, trim it down a lot just for a contractor.
That makes sense then. Do you guys have something that's trimmed down, or do you guys, when that time comes, are you available to say, hey, you don't need X, Y, and Z tab, and help slim it
Oh, okay.
down?
Yeah, we don't have a contractor one because the majority of our hires are full time now. We very rarely do contract work or subcontract. But when we do, it's pretty much like, yeah, we just say, all right, we have this assignment, just complete this, and then we just walk them through. Please upload this here, and we try to like provide the least amount of training possible because we want the contractor to focus on what they're good at, right? And usually the contractors, they're billed at much higher rate. They're usually they're business owners themselves, right? So it's not like they really need to know some of these things. And so it's a very it's a different approach.
I love that. I mean, this to me, I joined Agency U because I just was like, it's make or break, scale or not. I was getting burnt out. So this would at least give me the confidence with the system to say, okay, I could invest in hiring full time because I know it's going to end well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then your full-time hires should help you scale and grow, right? Contractors, I'm
Yes.
not saying all contractors, majority of contractors like, hey, give me a gig, give me a project, give me a task, right? And they're really task focused or project focused, item focused, because that's how they're making money. But it's just like same thing for us, right? When we sell a product or service, we're not looking to work on, building their leadership team, right? It's it's about we need to deliver and there's a cost, right, to that. Yes, we have hands up from
Hi,
article.
hi, Dave. Yes, my name is David as well.
Oh, David.
Um,
Okay, nice.
I wanted to inquire about, and maybe this might be later on down the line. I know you said this document was 1.0,
Hmm.
but have you guys given any thought to how you're going to make this document interactive? Like, like who are you planning on going with as far as the interactivity of it? Just curious on what your thoughts are with that.
Yeah, so right now, here, I'll reshare my screen. Some of the interaction is right on column D. Okay. So the interaction is they're providing the sentence summary, your opinion, and what new things you have learned. So that would be right now the level of interaction. Um, and it's the problem with this right now is that the reason why we're doing it is not even a problem. The reason why we're doing it right now because the onboarding is changing quite a bit and it's constantly changing really, really quickly. And also another reason for this is to create that one-on-one interaction, one-on-one training. But the one-on-one training is really costly, right? Time-wise, resource-wise, especially when we're taking like the business owner's time or the manager's time. So our next future iteration, probably like version 5 or 6, we would start building a system for onboarding. Think of like a online course, right? So building a course where there's videos, there's quizzes, there's different activities. So now it's a interaction to that, but still have that one-on-one interaction. I don't think the one-on-one interaction will ever really go away, but there will be more activities to do, but on a more structured approach. Does that make
Okay, no,
sense?
I can appreciate that. I think that's one of the draws with Agency U is definitely that one-on-one interaction and being able to speak
Yeah.
with the owner. Talking with Austin was remarkable experience by far, but
Yeah.
knowing that he was actually putting himself there to be an effective part of it, I think was a genius idea. But also like the other side of that coin too is when you're onboarding and someone just passes you this document, it can be overwhelming. And I think that's one of the reasons why you guys decided to also to split it up.
Yep.
You don't want to go through a general process with a person and then start defining roles just to find out this person can't make it through the general process. Um, and so when this document presents itself as something that, after weeks of, investing time into it seems like it could become daunting. And I guess my question is if
It's
you're
supposed to. It's
yeah,
supposed to.
right. If
That's
you're
their intention, really. Is their
right,
intention.
because you have to identify this person and their ability to play out this role
Yeah.
fully. And so the other side of that for me has always been visually, aesthetically pleasing, so that it's not such as a stressor, you know what I'm saying, from that aspect. Like I want to be able to see it, but not feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. So here, I guess what your objectives may be a little bit different. Our objectives here is basically saying, welcome to hell, okay? Or welcome to a boot camp. All right.
Right. But that's
And,
for agency U. That's the difference, right? Because we're not
yeah.
talking about typical agency. We're talking that onboarding was for agency U, correct?
Wait, which one?
The one you just showed us, that whole onboarding document. Was that for agency
This
U?
this onboarding document is what we use internally.
That's what I
So
thought. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll share this document to everyone at Agency U. Yeah.
Okay.
So this isn't a document that Agency U themselves use. Um, this is what we use for all of our talents for both my web company and for my staffing agency. So this
Okay.
is what we use. Actually, Charlene, she's our new my new EA. She's going through this very document right now. Um, so the our basically our culture, our how we work in our organization is we're like a sports team, or we're like a SWAT team, we're like a firefighting team, okay?
Yes.
And so everyone needs to be really well trained, because the last thing you know, we don't want someone in a burning building that they're trying to save people, but they need saving themselves, right? We don't want that. Or just like a sports team, right? We're here to win the playoffs. So with that mentality, we need to get the individual trained up as efficiently and as fast as possible, so they can start helping themselves and help others on the team. So this is why we have it set up this way. And it's still broken up. And we are very careful in each of the days, so it's not overwhelming. So for example, if you look at, if you highlight all of this, the sum of the estimated time is 415. Okay. There's 480 minutes in a day for 8 hours. So 8 hours times 60. Okay. So we never ever want to go over that. And these are expectations of like how long certain things should take. So there are individuals, like, so we have to cater to both, right? There's individuals that are really ambitious. They would crush this. They would like, I've seen individuals that would do 3 days, three days in their first day. Okay. They would, after work, they would like keep going. They'll keep watching some of the stuff, right? Like I say, make sure you pace yourself. I don't want you to burn out, but if that's how you want to work, if that's how you want to, be bring value to the organization, then that's wonderful. Okay. I'm not going to force you, but the bare minimum is just meet the days. Okay. And that's kind of how we have it. And then I have others where they've quit at the first day. Like they got the document, they're like, oh man, and they're like, this is too much, I can't handle it. I'm like, okay, well, sorry that we're not a good fit. Thank you
Yeah.
for applying. I wish you the best.
Yeah, I can
And,
definitely see that. This
and
is an actual playbook by far. And you're weeding people out, in that
yeah,
very sense. You don't want a high turnover. You want to make sure that these players are dedicated and that they understand what the commitment is.
yeah, yeah. So Dave, I mean, I mean, this is a really, like rhetorical question, but do you really, really want to spend 90 days with someone, let's say you don't have this document, right? And you train someone for 3 months straight, and then you realize, oh man, they're they're just not the right fit,
Right.
right? Or they're like they can't keep up. They just can't keep up. And if that's the case, I would rather either A, they quit themselves, or I let them go in the first week because they can't keep up. And it's in that case, it's a we're I'm doing a favor for them and they're doing a favor for me, right? I don't want to torture someone, right? As much as this seems like torture, this is painful because this is challenging, but it's more of a torture if I just keep dragging them on, and then I'm frustrated, I'm stressed out, they're stressed out. Like, man, David's always angry, right? Why is he always so stressed out about this, right?
Right.
Well, in reality, it's because they're not meeting expectations, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, it's not going, this isn't really the prettiest document, but it shows the playbook, right? It shows this is everything. This is the roadmap. This is the roadmap of everything. And by day 90, and I even say this, and people have agreed, um, you're not going to be the same person you are today. 90 days from now, you're gonna, if you stick to this program, you're gonna be a whole different person. Yes, Ivan, you muted.
Hey, I wanted to ask, what is your drop-off rate then? Because I'm just thinking that obviously you guys probably weighed in the amount of pressure that you're putting on them versus when it's just causing you too much of a staff turnover or potential staff turnover. So
Yeah,
what is the rate that
I
you
would
guys have?
say our drop-off rate is about 30%. Okay, 20, 30%.
Third
Um,
of all, right?
yeah, so the the thing is the qualifications do not start at orientation and onboarding. It starts at it starts at recruitment. It starts at putting together that job description, the job role blueprint. So setting that up first for success and having a clear job description and then going through those interview processes. Because some in the interview process, I tell them that this is going to be hard as shit. All right. This is going to be one of the hardest things you'll do in your life. Okay. And if they still want to apply, they still want to accept this job, then um, be prepared, right? But another thing I would promise them is they will not be bored working here, right? They will learn a lot, right? And they will, they'll transform, right? And that's the promise that I can promise them. I can agree to. I can deliver. And I can deliver that because of the onboarding doc, because of the level of training and the one-on-ones and the investment of my time and the team's time for the individual, right? But the reason why it's only 20% to 30% is because there's already all this expectation setting up front. So they know what they're getting themselves into.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
um, just curious here. I'm concerned that there's a contrast that's not being addressed here.
Okay.
Um, some of us, especially with, starting off,
Mm-hmm.
not anticipating a full 12-week onboarding for contractors or new hires. Um, is there an expectation that, there's not going to be that much, because I understand it for your organization, but maybe that's a little too intense for mine, or are you just all in like this is what it is? Just curious on your thoughts.
So can you clarify, like in your case, Dave, are you looking at hiring contractors and not full time, or you're looking for full time, but I guess what is your expectations for hiring someone or someone working for you?
I just have my I guess partial strategy call, trying to identify some of those factors. And so initially, contractors. And but listening to you today, I'm feeling a little bit different because I want more from this, in the long run. And
Yeah.
I definitely want this company to, uh, you know, progress and grow in ways that I'm not necessarily imagining right now, but I definitely
Hmm.
understand that there's a transition in that mindset.
Yeah.
And at the same time, um, I'm going through this process, understanding my role and all of the changes and challenges that I'm going to have to accept.
Hmm.
So I want to be
So
able to adopt this, this finality, the
yeah.
role, what I'm on, what I'm embarking on, and not have any ambiguity about, expectations or, you know.
Yeah. Okay, very good, very good. So, so this is, I think what I'm hearing is just kind of like the expect your mindset, okay,
Mhm.
as a business owner. So think of it this way, right? And I personally have seen it with so many like video agency owners and creatives in general, okay? So I don't want to like stereotype, but this is majority from my personal experience, okay? Creatives. Um, they're pretty much like pretty chill, really chill, and they love the creative side. But when it comes to like, oh, I gotta do a one-on-one, I gotta provide negative feedback. I need to confront individuals. I need to like hold them accountable because they're not showing up on time. They would rather ignore and
Mm.
get away from that and try to avoid that pain. Okay. Um, but here's the thing though. What ends up happening? Um, what's the worst thing you can do to someone? Okay. What is the worst thing a employee, let's say you're working for someone. What's the worst thing an employer can do to you?
Not prepare me.
No, worse than that. Not, that's part of that. What happens when you're not prepared? What
Fail.
ha Yeah, and what happens when you fail?
I lose my job.
You lose your job. Yes, that's the worst thing that can happen. Okay. So I always think from a mindset perspective, as the leader of my organization, I am doing my all to prevent my own team from failing, from losing their job. And if I don't have the balls to say, or the courage to say to someone, hey, this is the expectation, or this is the onboarding, or hey, you're not performing well, I am failing as a leader. I am failing them. Right. So that's kind of my mindset of like, yeah, it sounds really tough right now with this onboarding. I rather be tough, but not unrealistic. Right. And this isn't even like negative feedback, right? To the individual. They're like, this is how we onboard. This is how we train, right? You can bet the Michael Jordans of the world, they didn't just willy-nilly train whenever they want to, right? They have a set schedule. They train every day. They're training when it's snowing and raining and every other day. Because if we want to be the best, we have to train like the best. And that's kind of like our mentality here in the organization, right? But your take may be, hey, I want it to be more chill. That's fine too. Even if it's more chill, you still need to set certain expectations so it doesn't piss off your customers either. Make sense?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I thank you for that insight. I think you hit the nail on the head. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So but thank you for the questions. What else? Any other questions, thoughts? Everyone ready to hire their first full time?
What countries are you typically looking for, like your first hires, and then what positions as well, like for your first hires?
Yeah, so I'm a little biased. So because I run a staffing company and my team is all in the Philippines, and we help other agencies find talent in the Philippines. So Philippines is our go-to. But that doesn't mean you can't find talent elsewhere. Like I've I've heard even Ukraine has great talent. Also, depending on the talent that you're looking for, I personally have struggled with other countries, and of course, US is always a good option, but it's just expensive. Or just finding talent locally in the US is difficult too. So, but for us, it's mainly in the Philippines.
Nice. And what roles are typically like looking for and starting out?
Starting out, I would say executive assistant should be everyone's first hire, your first full-time hire. And then the second hire should be a technical hire. So it depends on the type of agency that you run. So if you run a video agency, so it would be video editors, right? If you're running a web agency, like a web design agency, it would be web designers and developers. If you're running a marketing agency, it might be a social media manager or a content coordinator, right? So those are your technical hires. But start with an EA first, and then go into your technical hires. And when you're hiring in technical hires, you want to hire as quickly, two at a time, or at least two, as quickly as possible. So that way you have redundancy, you have a backup. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I guess for the EA, are you getting to do like some like project management roles as well, or just like
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, so the EA would touch on a bit of everything. So the EA is not only mainly managing, helping you manage your time, but also manage projects, talking to vendors, talking to contractors, potentially even talking to customers, helping them with their onboarding, helping you with your social media. So there's a lot of things. That's why EA should be the first, because these administrative tasks, these are the things that those should be the first thing off your plate, right? usually the business owner is the creative or the technician. So it's hard to find talent for that, and it's very unique. So that's why the EA should be first and then the technical roles. All right. If nothing else, thank you everyone for your time. I hope you learned a lot through this onboarding. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me and Agency U. And then also if you have any other training and training topics you would like me to cover that's related to talent acquisition, like managing a team, just let me know. I can put together a training on that. So everyone have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.